these are a few of the interesting design considerations with a one hit point system. Movement is everything in a one hit point system. Your movement is most of your action. Especially if it's melee based, you end up moving around enemies, getting enemies to come towards you, hitting the enemies at the right moments. So you being able to move in certain interesting ways is important, and the enemies being able to move in interesting ways is important. Different movement patterns on behalf of the enemy. Knowledge of the environment. We don't want to be in a position where you have to go around a corner and your first step round, there was a monster waiting there and you die straight away. That would not be interesting gameplay, that would just be very annoying. So being able to see what's around and having clear line of sight, perhaps, but not using obstacles to line of sight, but just having a general knowledge of the area at all times, or always knowing where monsters are located, is quite useful. Abilities, you have to sit and think about what will be a useful ability. In a lot of roguelikes, your new ability is plus 10% more damage than your last ability, or plus 5% more defense. It's just add to this number, add to that number. It's not a new ability, it's just a general improvement of your character. When you have sort of all these items that are in many roguelikes, I mean, it comes down to what Diablo is like, constantly just cycling through until you get something slightly better than what you already have, but not actually changing you or changing your gameplay. So an important consideration in a single hit point system is when you get a new ability, what new thing will it let you do? Not just how it will make your current activity better. And these sort of design considerations are important for all roguelikes, but they are absolutely fundamentally necessary in a single hit point system. Areas of effect are different. You might have an ability that goes in a ball shape or a cone shape or something like that, and you can deal with several enemies at once. So the enemies might have certain areas of effect to their attacks or abilities or status as well. So these are ways to have interesting interaction within a single hit point world. And discrete time is very important. You can't have an enemy that moves at 120% of your speed, so that you're trying to run away from it, and every fifth turn it manages to kill you. You need to have very specific set time. Either everything moves at the same time, same speed, so turn by turn you know exactly what's happening. Or one thing I did with Toby the Trapper is that you move at twice the speed of every other enemy. So that actually gives you a good advantage for not getting caught out so easily. If you accidentally make a move next to an enemy, you normally will get a chance to move away again afterwards. In Gruesome, the first game I made, you can't see there, but you're this black on black dot. Problem being it grew in dark places, it's hard to spot you. But it had important abilities like this, important abilities around it. For instance, one of the first things I implemented was what's called shadow walking in the game. It basically freezes time and lets you move, but you cannot attack during that period. It was easy enough to implement, but it was something that I don't think I've actually seen so much in other games. I certainly haven't seen in other roguelikes before. But it became a sort of obvious thing to add in to let you move about with these. Essentially, it works out as a teleport, but it gives you updated field of view as you move. As you move about with these and reposition yourself, so if you end up in a position where you're under threat, you can get away from that threat. If you want to approach the enemy and close in for a kill, you can use it for that. So those sort of movement abilities are very important. This is a screenshot from Toby the Trapper. Now, one thing with the single hit point system is that the way I see it, you don't have 0 hit points. In this screenshot, you've got 2 hit points. 1, 2. You're 2 moves away from death. If I move over there, I heal. If I move over there, I get damaged. This is the place here. You're not sitting watching numbers go up and down. You're sitting watching sort of things move about a surface. And it's a more interesting surface than a linear HP bar. There's a trap there. So I know that actually I have a sort of buffer of protection on my HP bar there. That if I move up this way, I will encourage him to walk into my trap and die. And therefore, I'm back to, say, 4 HP. So this is much more interesting than sitting, clicking left, watching your HP bar go down, watching his HP bar go down, making sure his HP gets to 0 first. You are engaged at all points in your controls and your moves, and turn by turn, planning ahead each thing to people have complained about my games that they're too hard, that you make a fudge finger and you go the wrong way and you die. And it's too easy to die in a single hit point game. And I think they're making the wrong approach. They're so used to being able to mindlessly go through enemies. The point here is that you're never, if you plan ahead, you're never in a danger. Going into this position is just the same as letting yourself get to 1 HP on any normal roguelike. You wouldn't normally do that in a normal roguelike. In a game like this, you don't let yourself get too close. So, to summarize, forces interesting design decisions. And the thing I think is that it's a good learning tool for design. I think and it's a good way of, if you look at other games and you look at their features and you think, well, would this feature be interesting if there was only 1 hit point involved, or if there was no stats involved? There's one reason why I think, in general, inventory systems and item systems are bad. Because they're hard to really come up with interesting extra equipment you can get that isn't just improving your stats some slight amount. So it's much better to come up with some sort of different ability system or progression system where you're getting more discrete elements added to your character that add new abilities or change you in a fundamental way, or change the environment in a fundamental way. You have to innovate with the player and the enemies, so it's with player skills and thinking about the enemies. Far too many enemies in roguelikes just rush towards you and wait to die. And the way to make an enemy harder is to give it more hit points. In a single hit point system, you cannot just give it more hit points. You have to come up with something new and interesting. Keeps the gameplay tense, which personally I like games that keep me on my toes. I like challenge. It probably doesn't suit a longer game so well because you don't want that feeling of tension constantly, but in short games it really does feel good. And I think it can still be complex and engaging. If you play through Toby the Trapper, you will never think this is too simple a game. There's lots of interesting dynamic things that can come about from the environment. And I fully believe that you can make a much bigger game and with more complex elements that still retains the single hit point philosophy. It's better for interface as well, because you don't have all these stats everywhere. You don't have to worry about all these different numbers. You're just concentrating on the movement field and on positioning. And that's where the interesting gameplay lies. And it keeps you there. You're never going through menus choosing this or that. You're never going through your head thinking, well, which would be the best DPS. And you intuitively know through the movement space what is best, what's the good move, what is threatening, when you're near to death. And I think, for me, I started out with doing these sorts of games, and when it comes to the likes of Road Rage, it has taught me to design better. And I think it's a good sort of learning tool. If you can go and make an interesting 1 hit point roguelike, and then you try and go and make a normal roguelike, the lessons you'll learn from the 1 hit point roguelike will make for a much more